Welcome back for the next module in the polygons section. And I realized just as soon as I stopped the last video that I stopped too soon. We had another triangles problem to do. So if you go to your polygons unit, and rather than flip through all this, I'm just going to jump directly to the page. It is this one. I forgot all about this completely. This is a more complicated problem that involves a lot of things. It involves the Pythagorean theorem. It also involves the area formula. And the first thing you'll notice is that we're missing the height here. And normally I would have you just to count those. But this problem is not to scale, so I'm not asking you to count these this time. We're actually going to have to do some math to get to this missing dimension. So before you start a problem like this, you want to really study it and understand what you have. For one thing, I can look at these two 18 feet and realize there are not that many squares in there. This is not to scale. So on the exam, this would not be an issue, but since I have graph paper here, it looks like I've counted and I didn't. I just made up this problem and drew a picture that is not to scale. So to find area, that's the instruction, you need the formula A equals 1/2 BH. And I go to write in the formula 1/2 BH, and obviously we're missing height. So we're going to have to deal with that first. The first thing I need to do is figure out what H is. And I really wish I had not put this on graph paper, because it looks like I just want you to count, and I don't. We have to use the Pythagorean theorem to do that. So let me show you a little bit about what I'm talking about here. And the first thing, I think I'm just going to approach it this way. I want you to just look at this half of the diagram. Okay? And I'm actually going to take the time to color this in, because I really want you to see what I'm talking about. So this big triangle that's here sort of has two halves. It doesn't sort of, it does have two halves that are symmetrical. They're identical halves. So I'm looking at part of this triangle, and I realize that this is a right triangle because there's a right angle there. This is straight up and straight out. It's perpendicular. We have a right triangle. So if I want to find the height of this big triangle, I'm not going to leave this, but let me just erase this so you can see what I'm talking about here. You see how that yellow triangle is going to fit the Pythagorean theorem. We know the hypotenuse is 30, and we know one of the legs, so we can find the other leg. That's where I'm going to start. So let me bring that back, and right up here, I'm going to have to use the Pythagorean theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And I'm not going to try to squeeze that in there. So let's go down here to the bottom. I'm going to move it over here so we can just focus on the yellow part. And I'll tell you what, just to make this a little bit easier, I'm going to duplicate that yellow triangle right here. So it's something like this. Again, this is not to scale. So we know that this is 18 feet. We know that this is 30 feet. And this is H. This is the unknown that we're trying to find. So let me take that out. That's going to throw us a little bit. Formula looks like this. Here's the right angle. So hypotenuse, which I've been using in blue, let me just keep doing that. There's no significance to this color, it's just what I've been doing. And I definitely don't want to erase it. So there's hypotenuse. And here are the legs. So you've got this one and this one. So we're missing one of the legs. I'm going to let that be A. Can you tell I'm getting tired? I've been doing a lot of these videos. So the base is 18 and hypotenuse is 30. And we're going to let that be letter A, one of the legs. So 18 times 18 is my first step. I used to know these when I taught every day. I could tell you from memory. That's 324. And 30 times 30 is going to be 900. Be careful because there's an equal sign in there. This is an algebra equation. So the first thing that we have to do according to the rules of algebra is to move this constant to the other side. And if you have not seen the algebra videos, I encourage you to watch those. It will help you understand algebra and how it works. So you subtract over there and you get 576. You want to take the square root of the 576. So A is 24. So I'm going to come back up here and take out the A and put in the 24 feet. So since I found the 24 feet there, remember that's going to come up here also. We used the Pythagorean theorem in that half of the triangle to get that height. But we still have to find area, and that's step 2. So we're going to find the area. That was our original instruction, using that formula, which is A equals 1/2 BH. So area equals 1/2 the base times the height. And that's all we need. We don't need all the 30 and all this other stuff. Now be careful with the base. The base is not 18 feet. That's half the base. The base is this whole line right there. And let me get a line that you can see. It's this whole dimension. So it's 18 plus 18. And I've got too much stuff here. Let's move him down here. So 18 plus 18 to get the base. That's this whole dimension right there. And 18 plus 18 is 36. Okay, guys, I am having some serious trouble with this thing. There we go. 18 plus 18 is 36 feet. So your base total is 36 feet. And that's what you need to put in for this base right here. The height is what we found. Remember, the height came from that Pythagorean theorem, so that is 24. Let your calculator do the rest of it. 1/2 times 36 times 24 equals 432. And I'm going to check that one time. 1/2 times 36 times 24 equals 432 square feet. This time we know the unit, so let's go ahead and put that unit in. And that, my friends, is a tough problem. This is the kind of thing that you would see on an exam, on a college entrance exam. It is a tough problem. But first you have to use Pythagorean theorem to figure out the height, and then from there you can figure out the area of your problem. Okay, I'm going to stop the video and I'll see you in the next set.